Coming up on Top 30, a new record for US credit card debt. Pet store puppies are making people sick. A 13-year-old who saved 8 lives. And the hero of the day. It's all the news you need to know. This is Top 30. The United States of America just set a new record with its debt. For the first time in history, the US national debt has hit $20 trillion. This according to Business Insider. President Trump signed a bill that will temporarily raise the debt limit for 3 months. The bill was the result of the president cutting a surprise deal with Democrats in the House and Senate. There is no ceiling on credit card debt, however, which is why it's now headed toward $1 trillion for the first time in history. Currently, the number is over $936 billion. That is higher than it's been since the financial crisis. But a study by WalletHub found Americans put $33 billion on their credit cards in the last quarter alone. Researchers also said it shows Americans are returning to pre-recession spending habits. But it could be you, any day now, while innocently out shopping, who breaks the country's $1 trillion record. Good luck.
Puppies sold across the country have made people sick in 7 states, and the Centers for Disease Control has launched an investigation. The CDC says the outbreak stems from dogs at Petland, a national pet store chain. 39 people have gotten sick in the states you see highlighted. 7 of those people had to be taken to the hospital. The suspected cause? Campylobacter, an infectious disease that can be spread through contact with dog feces. But it usually doesn't spread from person to person. Infected people usually show symptoms within 2 to 5 days of exposure, which includes diarrhea, fever, cramps, and vomiting. And if you do get a new pet, make sure it's alert, playful, and has shiny or soft fur. And don't forget, take a new dog to the vet for a checkup shortly after getting it. ESPN's Beth Mowins became the first female ever to call a nationally televised NFL game. Mowins made history during Monday night's game, handling the play-by-play and proving that women deserve a seat at the table. Jared Leto took method acting to a whole new level for his role in Blade Runner 2049 by going blind for the entire shoot. He wore customized contacts both on and off the set to obscure his sight. And in this moving clip, a first responder stopped to pick up an American flag that had flown into the street during Hurricane Irma. Joseph Chavo told ABC News, quote, "It felt like an honorable thing to do."
A Pizza Hut store in Florida is under fire for threatening to punish employees who miss shifts because they evacuated too early in preparation for Hurricane Irma. A Twitter post shows the memo written to workers at one Jacksonville location. The memo says employees cannot evacuate more than 24 hours before the storm and must return within 72 hours. A Pizza Hut started getting a lot of backlash on social media and posted a statement on its website saying, "We do not have a policy that dictates when team members can leave or return from a disaster," and the manager who posted this letter did not follow company guidelines. Some on Twitter are questioning why Pizza Hut would close on Christmas but stay open for this. It's also unclear why that store believed anyone would be planning to go and get some pizza immediately before a hurricane hit.
The NBA is getting behind their players when it comes to using their celebrity to take a stand on social issues. ESPN reported that NBA Commissioner Adam Silver and National Basketball Players Association Executive Director Michelle Roberts co-signed a preseason letter on the topic. The letter said, "You have real power to make a difference in the world, and we want you to know that the Players Association and the league are always available to help you figure out the most meaningful way to make that difference." This comes on the heels of the NFL's Colin Kaepernick being without a team for taking a knee during the national anthem, all to protest police brutality. Making a difference matters. It's cool that the NBA gets it and is showing support for their players' interests. A new study says it costs far less to create new cancer drugs than the pharmaceutical industry claims. New research in the journal JAMA Internal Medicine concludes that the average cost of bringing a new cancer drug to market is $648 million. That's much lower than the $2.7 billion found in a study often cited by drug companies. What's not lower are profits. Together, the drugs in the study brought in $67 billion. Cancer drugs can cost a patient hundreds of thousands of dollars. Drug makers say their rising prices reflect rising development costs. One of the study's authors said the findings indicate, quote, "The current drug prices are not necessarily justified by the R&D spending on these drugs." Predictably, drug companies disagree. They say the research doesn't factor in how many drugs are tested and fail.
Two US Navy destroyers involved in separate deadly accidents this summer lacked key training requirements, according to a report by CNN. The USS Fitzgerald collided with a Philippine cargo ship off the coast of Japan in June, killing 7 Americans. CNN obtained Government Accountability Office data provided to Congress, which shows the USS Fitzgerald had expired training certification for 10 out of 10 key warfare mission areas. About a month after that accident, 10 Americans were killed when another Navy ship, the USS John McCain, collided with an oil tanker near Singapore. CNN is reporting data on that ship shows certifications lapsed in 6 out of the 10 mission areas. The lapse in training certifications for both ships may be one clue for investigators. According to CNN, a Navy official disputed the certification data, claiming the ships have much better scores on higher level training, and this data tells only a partial story. The Chief of Naval Operations has ordered a global operational pause for naval ships and a wide sweeping review. Top 30 will be right back.
Let's go to the New York Stock Exchange for our Fox Business Minute with Nicole Petalides.
In business news, the most magical place on earth is opening its doors again today. Disney announced it was closing its parks for 3 days for Hurricane Irma. It's only the 5th time in the park's history. The shutdown came at a hefty price tag of $90 million, breaking down to a whopping $30 million a day in lost revenue. Universal Orlando also announced it would reopen today. Nordstrom looking to change the way people are shopping. The department store unveiling its first Nordstrom Local. Customers can sip wine and check out clothes with a personal stylist. Then you place an order online. The new shops will have on-site tailoring and alterations. They'll provide same-day pickup from online orders or same-day delivery. Thinking about trading in your iPhone? Today might be that day, according to Declutter.com. The tech buyback site says people who sell their phone before the new launch can get up to 25% more for it.
As parents, we all want our children to do extraordinary things. And one 13-year-old certainly made her parents proud after losing her life only to save several others. In 2012, Jemima Lazelle was getting ready for her mom's birthday party when she collapsed. A few days later, she died from a brain aneurysm. Ironically, weeks before her sudden death, after someone she knew died in a car crash, Jemima told her parents that if she were to ever die unexpectedly, she wanted to be an organ donor. Well, after her tragic passing, Harvey and Sophie Lazelle remembered their daughter's words and, though heartbroken, gave their consent to honor her wishes. While a typical donor assists in 2 to 3 transplants, Jemima gave her heart, pancreas, lungs, both kidneys, small bowel, and liver, saving 8 lives, including 5 children. Her mother told The Independent, "Everyone wants their child to be special and unique, and this, among other things, makes us very proud." If you're inspired by Jemima's legacy and want to be an organ donor, it's very easy to register in your state by visiting organdonor.gov. Tinder is one of the most popular dating apps out there, so the company decided to hire James Blunt to give some blunt critiques about users' profiles.
You're beautiful. You're beautiful.
Yes, that James Blunt. But he took on some men who thought they were beautiful, explaining how shirtless selfies could be a turnoff, and had this message for a woman who wanted Tinder users to know she was into animals.
Hey there, I'm James Blunt, Chief Blunt Officer here at Tinder. Cat, 24. I see you're into cats, so you're lonely. You're scaring people away with this one.
The video was released as a commercial for Tinder, and Blunt also promotes his new single, OK, in the video.
Bloomberg is reporting that the cost of avocados might reach staggering highs depending on how the Trump administration renegotiates the North American Free Trade Agreement. Thanks to NAFTA and the imports brought in from Mexico, Americans are used to accessing whatever produce they want regardless of the time of year. Without the influx of avocados, which the US imports from Mexico, there would be a dip in available avocados, so market prices would go through the roof. Steve Barnard, Chief Executive of Mission Produce, a major distributor of avocados, talks about the importance of NAFTA, saying, "But if we get in a tit-for-tat fight with Mexican producers, where does it stop? The consumer's going to end up paying the bill." However, no price fluctuation will ever mask the fact that avocados are boring.
Parents, listen up because this is important. A study from the Cincinnati Children's Hospital Medical Center revealed of 398 preschoolers, less than 1% met the exercise guidelines for preventing obesity. This was using the nationally recognized 5210 guideline: 5 servings of fruits and veggies per day, 2 hours or less of screen time, 1 hour of exercise, and 0 artificially sugared drinks. The study found that 17% of the children didn't get the recommended serving of fruits and vegetables, 50% drank sugar-sweetened beverages, 19% looked at phone, television, or computer screens for more than 2 hours, and just that one child met all 4 measures. So if this doesn't inspire you to get the kids together for a dance party, I don't know what will. More Top 30 after a quick break. In today's hometown stories, the Pasco Police Department in Washington reported that an 81-year-old man was driving when he became confused and crashed his car. Flames caught the attention of onlookers who noticed the driver was stuck inside. Smashing the window, they pulled the driver to safety. By the time police and firefighters arrived, the entire car was engulfed in flames. Though modest about sharing their names, the local heroes stood together for a photo. As Porter Ron told KEPR, "I'm just happy we were able to get there in time." For our second story, a Treasure Valley, Idaho Girl Scout troop learned about the issue of homelessness and wanted to find a way to help. Collecting donations of helpful items like toothbrushes, deodorant, and baby wipes, the girls put together hygiene kits and presented them to their local shelter. Jody Peterson of the Interfaith Sanctuary Shelter told KTVB, "At a young age, looking at solving a problem instead of just talking about a problem is huge." Peterson presented the girls with a special Gift of Caring badge. For our final story, Galt, California resident Kristen McDonald was in her backyard when she noticed her neighbor's house had caught on fire. While neighbors called 911, McDonald and others ran into the home and rescued the 6 dogs inside. She then found a hose and tended to the flames until the fire department arrived. According to the Lodi News Sentinel, the homeowner, Robert Jimenez, was at work at the time. "I can't ask for better neighbors. If it wasn't for them, this home would have been gone."
New artificial intelligence claims it can guess whether you're gay or straight just by analyzing a photograph of your face. The technology had an astounding accuracy rate of 81% with men and 74% with women in preliminary testing. According to the BBC, researchers developed an algorithm using 14,000 photos of white Americans from dating websites. However, they failed to perform as well using photos in different test situations. LGBTQ advocate groups don't support the technology, calling the research unethical, and they say it could violate personal privacy. The artificial intelligence did much better than when humans tried to guess, which is something we've all done, and now science has shown us we're not very good at it. Americans are getting more unwanted sales calls than ever. The Federal Trade Commission says unwanted calls are the #1 complaint they receive from consumers. That was over 5 million complaints last year. The FCC says consumers get over 2 billion robocalls every month. Not only are robocalls annoying, they're actually illegal. Pre-recorded calls are outlawed under the telemarketing sales rule, with just a few exceptions. Scammers are aided by cheaper long-distance calls and faster auto-dialing technology. The worst telemarketers have learned how to conceal their location from authorities. One attorney with the FTC said, quote, "If they're breaking the law in how they contact you, chances are they're not offering a product that is above board." Quite a good point.
This takes forgiveness to a whole new level. In 1984, Denise Taylor's 19-year-old brother, Bo, was shot and killed in Compton by Ronnie Fields during a marijuana deal gone wrong. At the time, Bo's father, Jim, wanted the death penalty for Fields, and Denise wanted life in prison without parole. Fields was sentenced to a minimum of 27 years in prison. But in 2005, 21 years after Bo's death, BBC.com reports that Denise decided to contact her brother's killer in prison to ask if she could visit him. She'd already forgiven him, but she wanted to hear him say he was sorry. Part of Fields' response letter read, "No matter what you or your family think of me, I live every day of my life with the fact that I took a life. I regret that it happened, and I'm deeply sorry." She ends up being his first visitor in 10 years and believes he's a changed man. In the years that would follow, Denise and her father support him at more than 5 parole hearings, something only 1% of victims' families do. Each time, he is denied. Fields became so close to the Taylor family that Denise was listed on his prison paperwork as next of kin. At a 2016 parole hearing, Beau's father, Jim, testifies, saying, quote, "I don't know how he could show any more remorse than he has. Certainly, I'm satisfied." Fields was finally granted parole at that hearing, and on April 16, 2017, he was released from prison. He credits the Taylors for fighting for his freedom. Wow, makes you wonder what you would do in this situation. A clear picture of what mercy looks like.
In order to crush a game of Uno, you must know the number as well as the colour of your cards, which acts as an obvious handicap for colourblind players. Mashable reported that thanks to a partnership between Mattel and Colour Ad, the global organisation for colourblind accessibility and education, the deck has been redesigned to add internationally recognised symbols that represent colours. The change might not seem like a big deal, but it's a game changer for the 350 million people affected by colour blindness. Currently, the modified deck's being offered as an experiment, but if it does well, it may become standard. Forgetting to say Uno when you're down to your last card is, at last, a frustration that colourblind people can enjoy too.
It's amazing what you can learn from a hand-me-down. It's even more incredible when that hand-me-down is something as simple as a notebook, and it contains a message about you before you even existed. While rushing back to college, 19-year-old Haley Weiss grabbed what she thought was an empty spiral notebook from her parents' basement. But once she got to school, she found this circular dial in one of the pockets. Haley also saw a due date calendar and scribbles in her mom's handwriting of test results and referrals. It was then she realized what she was looking at. That was the notebook her mother had used to track her conception. She immediately texted her mother saying, "The notebook I'm using for college helped you guys keep track of how to create me." "I am crying," her mom wrote back. "You are my miracle."
Disney announced the first new members of its Mouseketeer Club in 20 years. The 18's cast for the show includes singers, musicians, and dancers who are some of the biggest up-and-coming talents from around the world. But this Mickey Mouse Club will have a twist compared to the old show. It will now be called Club Mickey Mouse and will air only on Disney's Facebook and Instagram pages. Disney says the program will run for 7 weeks with about 70 short clips released each week that showcase original songs and choreography. The previous Mickey Mouse Club featured a young Justin Timberlake, Britney Spears, and Christina Aguilera before they became international stars. More Top 30 after the break. Controversy surrounds a video game that pits gods of different religions in fights against each other. The game is called Fight of the Gods and features 8 characters you can choose from, including Jesus and Buddha. The characters face each other in one-on-one fights with various religious backgrounds like the Garden of Eden and the Red Sea. The government of Malaysia has already called for the game to be blocked there. A Taiwanese developer created it and told DailyMotion.com that he didn't mean to offend anyone and there is no blood or death. He's also planning on adding more gods.
A former NFL player is celebrating the birth of his 14th child. And what's even more remarkable, it's his 3rd after having a vasectomy.
I have my daughter who just turned 3 as of yesterday. I have another son named Tyler.
That's Antonio Cromartie, famously struggling to name all of his children back in a 2010 episode of HBO's Hard Knocks. 6 of those children are with his current wife. Cromartie spent 11 years in the NFL, most of them with the New York Jets. So what's he doing after football? Cromartie will be busy with a new reality show that features him, his wife, and their children.
Adidas has created a new sneaker that can repel beer. In other words, you can spill beer on them with impunity. One online store calls the coating Adidas uses DBPR, which they say stands for Durable Beer and Puke Repellent. The Adidas Munchen Oktoberfest was released in advance of the annual German celebration that begins this week. Since beer is a huge part of the festival, the leather upper of the shoes is treated with a special coating to prevent stains. They also sport embroidery inspired by lederhosen and have a lining in the traditional red and white colours of the festival. The inscription on the side is German for cheers. The coating will obviously repel more than just beer, making it hard to escape the feeling that the whole thing is essentially a PR stunt.
Well, that's it for today's Top 30. Here are some stories coming up that you need to know about. Former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich is in prison. Now he's speaking out. You won't believe what Bugatti's latest supercar did. It set a new world record, but it's gonna cost you. And a Michigan woman became the first contestant interstate to enter a beauty pageant with Down syndrome. And there's a happy ending to this one. It's all coming up on the next Top 30.